just talk a little bit about how we got into the music? Should we start with you, Catherine? What were you listening to?
Music-wise, I started with the Beatles, which wasn't necessarily progressive, but they do cover a wide variety of genres. And then I took over a venue, and I think that opened my eyes up to a lot. I mean, not so I only knew the venue.
What was the venue?
The venue. It's a lounge bar in Alton, Hampshire, and I think taking over a rock venue, and we specialise in more of the tech side and prog and ska. So there's quite a diversity of genres within the scenes that we promote. So that's opened my eyes up to a huge range of different types of music.
That's pretty good. Sharon, you've already revealed your love of Yes. So who else was?
Well, when I was younger, I really liked the Monkees and Herman's Hermits and David Cassidy and real pop stuff.
Yeah, all great stuff.
Yeah.
And now you represent some of the biggest prog artists that we have. Yeah,
I do indeed. Yes.
and you're fans of their work as well.
Yes.
Christina, what about you?
Well, prog completely passed me by. I was into punk rock, which actually
The Antichrist
was. Well, it was actually for me that was the sort of genre where the equality of the sexes was actually quite balanced, because there were a lot of very, very strong, powerful female singers at the time. Patti Smith, Debbie Harry, just all these iconic women now. So that was the sort of era that I enjoyed from a musical point of view, and I think that's where I get my attitude from towards my music. So as with regards to feeling like it was a male-dominated era, then that wasn't the case, certainly for the punk scene.
So when it came to you forming bands, were you trying to encourage women as you've been encouraged?
Well, I was actually quite young and impressionable, I suppose, at the time, because the first band that I was in, I played bass very badly in a punk band. We supported the UK subs in Cardiff, and they had to sneak me in through the back door because I was too young to be in there.
Fab.
I was 14, so. But yes, I mean, it was. There were all those, Susie Sue and all those sort of iconic.
Very strong.
Yeah.
Very strong.
Yeah.
Heather, what about you?
Well, I was lucky enough to have been brought up by a mum who was always listening to music. Huge Beatles fan, Beach Boys, Monkees, Carpenters, Fleetwood Mac. So loads and loads of a huge mixed bag. And the radio was always on. I was at art college when I decided that art wasn't for me, and I decided I was going to go off and be a dance music star. Didn't go very far, but again, like soul music, dance music, and then acoustic music. I started doing shows around my hometown, which is when I bumped into a lady who told Brian Josh, I think I found your new singer for most of the autumn. So and I hadn't got a clue what prog rock was, and to be very honest, I don't even think most of the autumn knew what prog music was.
They were just doing their thing.
Exactly. I was introduced to Floyd and Genesis and Yes through joining that band, and it was only after we'd been sort of doing it for a couple of years, it was suddenly like this term progressive rock started being bandied about. Yeah.
Anna, what about you?
I grew up with classical music. My parents are both opera singers.
Wow.
So yeah, I basically grew up in the opera, and I still love that music. But as a child, or as a teenager rather, I of course had my rebellious phase, and I listened to black metal for a very long time.
I bet that went down well. It's still very symphonic.
Actually,
at times,
they were always so open that they didn't really mind. They just thought, okay, that's how it's going to be now. But we always had different music blasting from all the different rooms. My mom would listen to Queen, so I basically grew up with that, and ABBA too. And my stepdad would listen to old opera records. My dad listened to rock music and the Beatles, of course. So I've always had a very eclectic taste in music.
That is a real melting pot, yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
and that hasn't really changed. I just listen to everything I can except maybe reggae and Schlager music.
Okay, well, those are opposing forces, aren't they? Marjana, what about you?
It's actually a funny story because in Soviet Union, rock music was pretty much banned for like a very long time. So when I was growing up in the beginning of the 90s, it was still very difficult to get hold of anything.
Bootlegs, though.
Yeah, well, you know, my parents were kind of hippie rebels, like rebels against the system. So they accidentally got me hooked on Pink Floyd. Because they thought that it would be kind of an appropriate thing to get me to watch The Wall instead of, you know, cartoons, because they had a bit of multiplication in it. And I was like 5 years old. So yeah, by the age of like 6, I knew The Wall by heart. I didn't know English, obviously, but I was like singing along happily. And I guess that was the main influence. And now they're kind of questioning, why am I choosing what I'm doing now? So like, parents, that's on you.
Absolutely. Indoctrination from a very early age. Jacqui, what about you?
Well, I was fairly political when I was younger. Well, I still am, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I used to go on the marches, C&D marches, and the first music that really blew me away and nearly made me cry was Miles Davis and John Coltrane and Bill Evans, the pianist. And on the marches, a lot of the guys played guitars and stuff, and then that's how I came into the folk music and listening to traditional music. But my first love, and it still is bebop, late 50s jazz.
Fast.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like you. Brilliant.
Emotional.
Yeah, emotional, absolutely.